like your new RAV4.
Thanks, yours too.
What does RAV stand for anyway?
To me, it's the Remarkably Advanced Vehicle.
Really? To me, it's the runway-approved vehicle for its amazing style.
What about Remarkably Adaptable Vehicle because of its versatile cargo space?
Or really admired vehicle?
Oh, or Really Awesome Vehicle.
It really is the recreational activity vehicle. The stylish 2026 Toyota RAV4 Limited. What's your RAV4?
It's Deprogram, the podcast where we try to get you into a band. That's right. We've done all the work for you. All you have to do is press play and listen. My name is Justin, and you can call me Band Curious. You can call me that as a nickname if you like. Some people have done it. But what it means is I am indeed curious about bands. I like to talk about them with my friends. And normally what we would do on this show is we would get together, talk about a band, and then we would put together a top 10 starter kit list for you to get in the band that we were talking about. We ain't doing that today, man. It's a different day, which means we do different daily things, which means, sometimes it's Q&A, sometimes it's whatever the hell. We do lots of different things on these dailies. But today, my friend Joe hit me up and was like, hey, man, remember when I asked you your top 5 concerts and you answered? I'd like to do that. And since we put out the open call, I said, yeah, let's do that. So, I mean, I don't know if you're putting any framework on your top 5 or if you're just going, but the floor is yours, Joe. Tell me your top 5 concerts of all time.
Yeah, well, again, hello, everybody. It's great to be back here on Deprogram. It's been a little bit. Actually, I was just on Deprogram doing Avril, so that was actually really recently. But you also may remember me from past episodes that you could go back in the Deprogrammed back catalog. If I could talk, I do podcasts. Oh, wait, no, I don't actually anymore. But also other shows like, The Story So Far, Limp Bizkit, Green Day, and Blink-182. And also my wealth of knowledge for female artists like Pink, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift. I did all those episodes too. You can go back and listen to that full catalog on Deprogram. Anyway, I did ask you those questions, and these episodes have been great. I love these dailies. And listen, anybody that listened to John's episode, I'm not going to even get close to that because that man is a wealth of knowledge with decades of experiences. But I'm going to do my very best to at least make some good daily content. But a quick little backstory. I'll give you a little backstory for this. And as you know, Justin, I was a wrestler for almost a decade. So really my going to shows has really only been about the last 10 years since I've been out of wrestling because what was I doing before that? I was wrestling on shows every weekend. I, had, school and work and yada, yada, yada. So like I never really went to shows during the week either. So my shows have really only been over the last decade. So some of these are kind of recent in my memory because, as I've gotten older and more mature, seeing my favorite bands and those special moments have taken kind of place in my heart, if you will. And of course, just like naming off any top 5, obviously I have some honorable mentions. So it's more than 5 here.
Fair enough. John got honorables too. So
he did. But I know this is a daily, so we'll try to keep it. We'll try to keep this nice and tight. I do the first honorable mention I want to bring up. It's 2000. Let's see. So I would have been in my senior year of high school. So it was 2004, September 2004. It was the American Idiot Tour. So I saw Green Day at the Target Center in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And this was a great experience that lives forever in my mind because it was me and my 3 buddies and their girlfriend. Well, actually, it was me and my 2 other buddies and all of our girlfriends went down to the cities, so Minneapolis, St. Paul, as degenerate teenagers, which I don't know why our parents ever let us do that. we we stayed down there overnight, being degenerates. So I don't know why that ever happened. But anyway, Newfound Glory opened for them. That was right when Catalyst came out. So they were doing that tour, and then of course the American Idiot tour, which, I mean, arguably that tour for Green Day kind of was peak Green Day, arguably. So that was a very memorable moment, but it only makes honorable mention because it was so long ago. Seeing Jimmy Eat World the first time at the North, this was just a couple of years ago. And I love Jimmy. I know most of the discography. I can't say that I know all of it, but that show, first time I ever saw Jimmy, and it was just so good. They are so good live, man. Like
one of these days.
So for me, even to know them and know most of the set list, but it was just so cool to see them play. And you can just, anybody that's seen them, just you can tell how much they love playing music, and it really shows in their performance. This one I actually just thought of before I texted you the other day, and also as a reminder, I want to say that I was like, I'll make some time for you, Justin, if you want to make some content. I guess I'll make some time for you, buddy. I got you. Let's get these dailies up. So this was summer of 2021. So shows just started to happen again because, as we know, the whole COVID thing happened. It was actually, this is a band that I'll talk about a little bit later, but it was a headline tour for The Story So Far.
Oh yeah.
But I'm not talking about them. This is actually one of the opening bands, Movements.
Oh.
The whole entire band had the COVIDs.
Whoa.
Like that day so like it was literally the lead singer, and I don't remember if it was one of the guitar techs or literally just somebody that was traveling with the band. They played an acoustic set instead of their normal, semi main event set. So, like they had about whatever that is, 45 minutes to play. And this person, again, I don't remember if it was their guitar tech or somebody with the band, but they learned the entire set on acoustic that day so they could do something. And at that point, I didn't know Movements, but it was so just like in the Norva. Again, we're talking about geography here. If you don't know Norfolk, Virginia, the Norva, but that venue, and it was pretty packed for the most part. But to hear an acoustic set by this band that was just like, yo, we thought about just canceling, but we're like, we can do this, so we're going to give it a shot. And it was so cool. Like, it's very memorable. And especially to hear an acoustic set like that, it was very cool. The last honorable mention, I gotta say this, even though I'm going to bring this band up in the actual top 5, but my girlfriend and I just went up to Worcester, Mass this past December. 4 Year Strong plays an annual holiday show every year in Worcester, where they're from. They were playing this show at like an old original venue up there in Worcester called the Palladium or Palladium. I'm not sure exactly how you say it. It's Boston. But so they announced that they were going to play essentially the entire Rise or Die Trying album, which is their first full length. They were playing that all the way through. Plus they were shooting a new music video for Heroes Get Remembered, Legends Never Die, which is the first song that I found them on over a decade ago. So that was really, really cool. And I was like, I got to be there for it. So that was a great show to be there for that. Okay, we're done with the honorable mentions. Let's get into the list. And now I was going to do the thing where I was going to say, there's no 1 through 5 because I love all these shows so much. But I'm like, you know what? That's a cop out. You gotta put numbers on these things. So I'm going to put numbers on. You got to put numbers on. So at number 5, these bands I just talked about, it was, I want to say 2 years ago, might've been 3, either way, but it was down in Raleigh, Red Hat Amphitheater, which is a really cool venue, right in downtown Raleigh, really easy to get to, very accessible, awesome venue. It's similar to, again, we're talking about geography here. Justin, have you been to the pavilion out in Portsmouth?
Yeah, like the one across from downtown Norfolk. Like you take the ferry to get to it.
Yeah.
That one?
Well, you can drive there, but you don't have to take the ferry. But yeah. It's essentially Red Hat in Raleigh is adjacent to that same idea.
Okay.
Nice little amphitheater. So this was great because I got to see all three of my rotating 5 favorite bands on the same card. 4 Year Strong opened, followed by The Story So Far, and then A Day to Remember. So in one show, I knocked out 3 of my top 5 favorite bands. So that right there is super memorable because essentially over the last couple of years, I've been very choosy on which shows I was going to go to. Just, whether it was traveling or, whatever. I'm old now.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
old. So going to a show, we talked about this on After the Fact recently, I think. I'm old now, man. So, a weeknight show is tough for me to do. But anyway, so crossing 3 of my 5 favorite bands off in one show was absolutely, will live forever in my mind. Number 4, oh my gosh, this one, I got to put it at 4 just because the other ones, anyway, but it was the reunion tour of Yellowcard in Baltimore. They played a show a few days before in Milwaukee. I think it was like a festival or something like that. So this was the first true show of the tour that they were back together after, almost 10 years apart or 7 years apart. I got to meet them informally. Like it was a VIP kind of meet and greet gimmick, but there's so many of us. There's probably like 100 people, before the show. So they just did, like everybody around the stage. They did some like deep cuts where you essentially like called out what you wanted to hear and they played it acoustically. It was like 3 or 4 songs that they played acoustically. And that was Pier 6 in Baltimore. I think that's what it was called. But anyway, that was super because that was my first time to ever see Yellowcard. Super memorable. I thought I would never see them after they, ended in 2014, I want to say it was. And I remember in 2014 when I was like, dang, they're calling it quits and I never got to see them. And shortly after that, Chester died. So that was like really gut wrenching for me. Of like, well, I'm never going to see Linkin Park. I'm never going to see Yellowcard. That sucks. So anyway, when Yellowcard announced that they were going to get back together and do a reunion tour, I was definitely on board for that. And they were super cool. Obviously I didn't talk to them directly, but they were super cool. And just, you could all kind of the theme here, you could tell that they were so happy to be back playing shows. Number 3, this one is the most recent one. It was at the Dome. Man, geography, dude. The Dome here in Virginia Beach, which is a new venue. Finally getting to see a headline tour for Simple Plan. That was such a core memory for me, having been a fan of Simple Plan since early 2000s and never being able to get to see them. There probably was an opportunity at some point along the way, but again, as I've said, like I was either wrestling or I was on deployment in the Navy, whatever the case. So, but that was such a great show, and they played some deep cuts too from songs that I, was sad boy and crying to when I was growing up. So seeing those live was amazing. Oh, and like I said, all these shows I cried at, by the way. I'll just throw that out there. If you've heard anything that I've talked about with music, I definitely am a crier. And all these things I'm talking about either brought me to tears, a song, seeing it live, or just being there in person. The atmosphere brought me to tears too. This one, so that was 5. That was 3. So number 2, oh my gosh, number 2. This was tough between 1 and 2. Number 2 is seeing Sum 41, technically this for the second time ever, but for the first time headline tour, and it was on their farewell tour of May 2023. I saw them the year before in Charlotte. They opened for The Offspring, but that was just an opening set. So this is the first time I get to see Sum 41 headline tour, but it's their last show.
Goodbye, yeah.
Yeah, well, technically, we'll see what happens in 10 years if they want to come back. But
Yeah.
that was also at the Norva, which originally it was scheduled to be at the bigger venue here in Norfolk at the Ted Constant Center. Again, there's so much geography here, guys. But so here's a little bit of history. So I got this one like John would. They were supposed to be at a bigger venue, but because the Norva was actually one of the first American venues that they ever played coming from Canada.
Whoa.
When they first started, they moved it to the Norva.
That's cool.
So that is cool. It was way oversold and overpacked. So we were packed in there like sardines. But so as much as I don't really love that, it was such a good show. And, we were able to find a little spot where people weren't like sweating on us, But man, just the energy all night. Again, you could tell that they were grateful for their career and just how long they could play music. I don't know. You could just tell. And they ended with a little curtain call gimmick, and I'm just sitting there bawling like, oh, thank you guys. I'm so happy. But I'm so grateful that I got to see them play it if it's the last time. And number one, no surprise. I think you know where I was going with this, but we talked about not being able to see bands ever again. We didn't think it was ever going to happen, but the Blink-182 reunion show in 2023 in DC, you and I were there. We were bawling. We were crying our eyes out because we never thought it was ever going to happen again to see Mark, Tom, and Travis together. Yeah, I mean, I think you already brought it up, but that show was amazing and great because it was the first time that they were back together. When we saw them the following year on the One More Time tour in Raleigh was way better for sure. But the number one in my heart always will be that reunion tour in DC, considering that we didn't think it was ever going to happen again. Yeah, so that's it. I mean, I don't really have a lot of history there, but that's what it's fresh in my mind. I probably got some other ones that I could come up with, but those are the freshest ones in my mind that hold a lot of place in my heart.
I just want to tag your number one, your Blink, with the fact that it was the emotion of it. Like, again, we didn't think that we'd ever see those three together on stage again. And then, like, the set list that they chose, a lot of those songs we didn't think we'd ever get to see played. So it was like, and then, you and I, we go together, and both of us love Blink so much, and it was all of it. And like you said, I feel like even the Charlotte show was a little bit better, and then the next year the Raleigh show was even better than that. But like, none of them had that same thing that DC show had. And the first one back, I mean, like we were obviously those following shows, we were hyped to see them again, and especially on the One More Time tour with the new music. But yeah, you can never mimic, whether we're talking about a farewell show or a coming back show, you can never mimic that energy and that vibe of that. It's no shocker that Blink was number one for you. I just wasn't sure which one you were going to go.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I had to go that first original DC one. I was going to say the Charlotte one because that's the one where Astronoid opened, and I love Astronoid now. Those guys were like the hard rock instrumental band.
I fell in love with Turnstile on that tour too, because we got to see them.
Yeah. Oh, Turnstile slaps too. So, actually, I did just think of one more honorable mention, and you're gonna chuckle. Actually, you're probably not gonna say anything. Honorable mention: seeing you play live in Hampton there, whenever that was time. I don't know, that it was sometime recently, but I truly say that because to see my friend up there playing songs that he wrote holds a place in my heart always. I know you're never going to talk about it, but seeing the Undercutters play live holds a place in my heart as well. God. Seeing my friend play his music that he created, so that holds a place in my heart too. I know you're never gonna say it though, so screw off. I love you.
I love you too, brother. Well, folks, on that note, on this terribly red-faced note, I gotta wrap it up. We'll
Got
see
'em.
what day this lands on. You guys will find out when I do what day this actually lands on. So we'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.